This is the first map we're looking at, and the first map listed in the game, Bespin Platforms. A cool idea for a map. You have these floating platforms in the sky and just a bottomless abyss with the wind howling up here. Really cool skybox. Nice sunset. Beautiful orange colors. And there's really not too much with this map. We have a lot of starfighters that we can fly around in, which is a cool aspect of the map. This centerpiece area is probably the most designed part of the map. We have a lot of steam, especially in this hallway. And the steam sound effects are good. They're crispy. They kind of sound like really compressed, but I think it gives it a cool effect. And here we'll go and look inside this building. This is it. Here we got some computers, and I will say Star Wars computer ambience is some of the best sound effects. We do get this funny little starfighter, this like Cloud City cruiser type car. These always look goofy. They kind of look like two Jordans, kind of like two Red Octobers. Now this map, this is Bespin Cloud City. We still have that ambience in the background that kind of sounds like an instrument. I have no idea what that is. I imagine it's like metal moving, but it sounds very musical. But this map, this is a cool design and has some really interesting parts to explore. Not too many. I mean, really looking at it, it's such an interesting concept because it's like a large urban center, but you have this sci-fi influence, like with these rounded buildings. Like these could just be offices or apartments. It should be really boring because everything's just gray, but then you have the inclusion of like these blue force field things that they use them for decorations, but they also use them for practicality, like this part over here. They use them as kind of guardrails to prevent people from falling off. I don't know what the point of this square thing is. Like, is this supposed to be a window? And they're using these force field things to make a unique designed window? I don't know. Is this construction? Are they thinking about building something here? Probably not. Is this metal or concrete? I don't know. It looks like concrete to me. The way... like, that definitely looks like concrete. I don't think metal will be making that effect. At least they got some water somewhere. And I do like how they designed the water. They made it this glowy turquoise. The water effects aren't anything to really talk about. This one doesn't even have splash effects. I think they did a pretty good job. Because I've seen some really bad water effects in some like modern games. But this just looks like... this is pleasant to look at. It looks refreshing and nice. Like... look at that glowy turquoise color mixed with kind of purple. So you just come out here, sit on a bench, hang out. A lovely day in the park. It's always all these windows are kind of weird. Like you can't really make out what's behind them. Kind of looks like a convenience store. But it's weird to think that there's like, these are all just buildings with offices or living quarters probably. People living in the city. What made this map more vibey than it had to be was because they made it during a sunset. And because of that, we get this cool lighting, and it helps break up the buildings because you have like light shining on that side and you have shadows. And there's also like an orange tint on everything. Like look at that building specifically. You can kind of see the orange yellow tint on it in the sunset. That makes it more appealing to look at. There's a different section that's really fun to explore. You can see it with this hallway, this dark hallway with all these lights around. And this is just a weird hallway to walk through, and then it leads to an even weirder room that's really creepy. We see these in Star Wars all the time, but the idea of them is the ambience changes. And then if you look below, it's just an endless... it's just endless void. And this is such a really iconic like Star Wars type aesthetic. These big rooms with these, I don't even know what like these do. I imagine it's for some kind of like cooling system. This is like a vent because they're powering so much. And then of course we have the iconic movie scene of the carbonite chamber. Just a lot more empty. Still pretty interesting. You do die if you fall inside that chamber. I'm not going to do it because I don't think anything really happens. Alright, I have to talk about Endor because it's such an iconic map. And I will say, like, foliage-wise, it's popping. We got these nice sun shafts shining through. Also, I want to talk about the sun because we get these god rays coming through the leaves. And I think they look really good. And we'll see this on a couple other maps. I really like this effect. You know, not every game does this. Sometimes they just hide the sun. So yeah, I mean, we're basically in a foggy jungle. So the main thing I want to show off is the shield bunker, just because I really like the aesthetic of it and how it stands out in this natural environment. And you want to talk about creepy places, this used to always scare me as a kid. You just have this long hallway of this red electricity flowing around. It looks evil. And of course, if you jump through this window, you just instantly die. Also, shout out to the Dark Trooper. This is such a cool class. I mean, the fact they were busting this out on the first Star Wars Battlefront, what a cool idea. He's got a jetpack. He's got an all-black armor. Like, you never see these in the movie. They should have been. Also, these huts are weird because there's no way you can sleep in there. You can see this tree trunk is like right behind them. So is that like all the room they get inside that hut? I mean, I know they're tiny Ewoks, but they're still kind of chubby. That hut right there has more room. This is a more spacious housing accommodation. Alright, this is Geonosis Spire. And I actually really hate this map. I mean, compared to the Geonosis of Star Wars Battlefront 2, this is suck. It's so, you're seeing the entire map right here. This is it. Here's the spawn for the clones. There's the spawn for the droids. I think this is where they fight Count Dooku in the movies, but I thought it looked a lot bigger. Shout out to these things. These turns, I always thought these were cool because they make the funny sound effect. Pretty noisy skybox. A lot going on with all these starfighters flying around and just fading away. Alright, so here's the inside of Geonosis Spire. I thought this place is cool. We have this holographic table showing the current situation we're in. They didn't have a holographic animation technology yet. I do think they include that in the second one. These cool glowy banners, got some computers, and the ambience is beeping. Also, I was a big fan of these ships, which are unique to Geonosis. These weird little fighter guys. Kashyyyk Islands? And I'm kind of confused because the satellite image that loads us into the map says like we're in the middle of the ocean, but it looks like we're in a lake because we're surrounded by land. So I think they just kind of put a skybox on and didn't really worry. But we do have a nice sunset once again. Star Wars Battlefront was not shy about just giving every map a sunset. We have some crazy swamp animal ambience from Kashyyyk. So the whole thing about this map is you have these islands and then you have these Wookiee huts, which are these nice bamboo huts with soft lighting from these lanterns here. Pretty chill vibes, bamboo island with bamboo huts. I do wish the huts could have been a little bigger, like maybe have one big hut. I don't even know what the purpose of them are, because you can only fit like 10 people in here. Like, what are you doing? There's no like furniture or bedding. I guess you just stand and hang out. They're just hangout huts. Oh, there is this hut. This is a bigger hut. I think this is the biggest hut. This is for the King Wookiee. You get even more space to just stand around. Over here we have a bamboo forest to walk around in. I miss when they just gave you vehicles. Like, look at this. They just spawn a starfighter and a troop carrier. It's like way cooler to like take off. You don't get this anymore in the modern day battlefields because you just click a button to spawn in the vehicle and you're already moving. Here's fire pit. This is just like a giant smoke spot. I think every hut is for someone to just chill in. This is Kashyyyk Docks, which we have the exact same skybox, and this one does take place at a normal day type sky, no sunset or golden hour. And this is the entire map. You have some huts up there that we don't need to look at because they're exact same as the island huts. And then you have these docks. And there's the droid spawn. over there. We have this nice wall fountain. They put a lot of effort into this. Again, we had that turquoise glowy water that I'm a big fan of. Mossy stone wall. Nice entrance to this small village. I don't think it deserves. The best thing about this map is definitely the water. This is really nice colored water. Got that teal. It's shiny. It even reflects. And the reflections on the map are, they're accurate. It doesn't reflect any players, of course, so that would be asking a lot. But you can actually tell with the reflections that the FPS is a lot lower than the game. The funny thing about this map is when you go to the water and you fire explosives into it, dead fish always appear. This is Naboo Plains. This is the best example of my idea of like cool idea, just not really a lot to explore. This is it. You got ruins, and then you got mystical forest. We do get these funny animal guys that we can ride around on. Look how detailed these models are. Can go inside of these weird head ruins and you can shoot out of their mouths, which is an experience that this map offers and no other map does. And we got some good moss texture on the stones that we can't complain about. Always a fan of mossy things. And then the real selling point, the real reason you would want to come here is to take a look at the falls, which does look unique to other things because, you know, we have this backdrop that's 2D, but they animated the waterfalls. It would be cool to have a map over there, like a map with the falls in the background. I mean, it makes you want to like go over there, but you can't. Just plains forever. And then you just reach a flat texture. But I will say, with how little there is to explore on this map, it's nice. It's lush. You got good grass, good trees. A destroyed ancient ruin is always a good aesthetic to place somewhere to make it look a little more appealing. Birds are chirping, the sun is shining. You just breathe it all in. This is a heavy hitter map. This is Rhen Var Harbor. And there's two Rhen Var maps. Both of them are goated beyond belief. It's an ice map, but it far surpasses Hoth. I think Hoth has been overdone, to be honest. Just the same map. And we're not going to look at Hoth in this game because it's the exact same as the one in Star Wars Battlefront 2, which we've already looked at. But the aesthetic they went with this map is ice planet with ancient ruins. Beautiful combination, but you only have a few areas of this map. You have the clone starting point right here. You have this like frozen river, I'm assuming, that you can go across, and then you can go into the main citadel area, which is a easily defensible fortification, and you can clearly see that this map has one side that's better than the others. You don't have to get too excited about this ancient room because the other map does a better job at it. Where this map really shines is this other pathway that only infantry could take, the ice caves. These are so cool. It gets its own little ice cave ambience, and what I really like about it is they decided to make this ice texture which is see-through and then add another floor under it, so you really get this feeling you're walking on ice because you can see the blurriness. It creates a really cool effect. And then you have this room, which introduces fog. I'm not sure why they only put fog in this one area, because as we go deeper, the fog actually goes away. This is the most immersive area in the entirety of the game. It feels so cool to be in these ice caves. I love the colors. We have this bright turquoise, which makes everything really pretty looking. And then we have this giant opening right here where you have these like this pure ice column thing coming out. It looks like, I don't know, I guess water was flowing out and it froze. I don't even know how you would form something like this. I have no idea how ice caves form. I'm not an iceologist. And then this is really neat right here. They actually put flowing water with the ice over it, and it's going down this waterfall. And so this just looks really cool. As you can see the blurred moving texture beneath the ice. I think they just did such a good job. And what's interesting is like this is the only map where we see this texture, this ice texture in effect happening. And you can see it pooling right there. It's actually a different color water. And then it morphs into a more bluish ice right here as we get closer to the clone spawning area. This is Rhen Var Citadel, which now we're in the main fortification of Rhen Var. We get to walk around its destroyed ruins. It's on top of this giant mountain. Also, I do want to point out, this isn't a sunset map, but this is a good colored sky. This is a type of blue I can get behind. I complained a lot about the Battlefield 3 blue. I like it when the blue is not boring. Like, this has some fun colors in it. It's not too bright. I'm not asking for anything too crazy. I mean, it's getting kind of weird over there with how blue the clouds are. For most of this map, it's just walking around the stone fort. It all kind of looks the same. But there is one area that is my favorite that we'll walk down to. We actually have to go inside of the building itself, and we get a nice little ambient change. So this is the inside of Rhen Var Citadel. We have these nice looking torch lantern hanging things. Is that a brazier? I don't want to say it's a brazier, but it could be. But I like the interior as the wind calms down. It doesn't go away completely, which I like. You can still hear it, which is realistic. And then we got some rune carvings, some Jedi ancient text. And this is the coolest point. This is the crypt. And it has this giant blue fire brazier. And the ambience, there's a special ambience for the crypt alone. First off, someone broke out of their thing. That's kind of creepy. But we get this really creepy ambiance. Like, there's definitely some spiritual essence at work here in this room. And the writing on the wall is a good addition. If I had to say one thing I wish to see more in Star Wars maps and games, it's this. The spirituality behind the Jedi and Sith. Because that's a huge element. I mean, they turn into ghosts. I wish we got to see more areas like this, like these sacred Star Wars areas, where you get a feel of like their spirituality and religion. I love how they made this fire texture. They kind of add, like, the embers are coming off that are white and they look sparkly. Like, the whole thing is just magical. Tatooine Dune Sea. And here we got the little Tusken Raider tents. That's kind of weird. What do they make these out of? Like, this looks like dirt. There's no way this is like a fabric of some kind that they're making a tent. I think they just make dirt tents. There's really not much going on in this map. Again, it's that same idea where, like, the maps have cool ideas. There's just not much to look at. We do have a Sarlacc pit that grabs you and eats you. Fireplaces we can chill out and make some s'mores. Besides that, we got rocks we can climb up. Dude, I love the Rebel Yavin 4 model. The forest camo. This is a really nice green. It looks sick. Kind of looks like Clint Eastwood, how much he's squinting. Alright, this is Yavin 4 Temple, and I do really like this map. I think this is a fun one to walk around in. We have this dense forest area, birds chirping in the background, some ancient ruins, again, which is always nice. Light shafts, looking good. And it just has a lot more trees. I like this more than Endor, mainly because of the ruins, and I'm a big ruin fan. It just feels more peaceful too. It's not too crowded. The trees aren't like ginormous, and it's not like insanely crowded. And insane skybox with this giant red moon. I think it's a moon. Also, look at the sun. The sun rays go hard on this map. They actually disappear when the foliage gets too dense. I don't know how they had this kind of technology. It looks really nice. How it can get denser and hide away, and then it keeps trying to like find little areas to peek through. I will say the foliage design, like once you start looking at the canopy, it's kind of trippy. Like everything faces you at all times, so you can just start spinning. Also, there's like this part I'm looking at is completely detached. We can find like this right here. You see this? This thing I'm looking at, it's completely detached from everything. So this is just a floating bush in the sky. Can't really tell when you're like normally playing, but once you start looking at it, that's when it starts breaking. But moving on, we actually have some points of interest that are cool to look at. We have this ruined fountain, and we have some different looking water. Let me capture this so I can get the loud bass noise out of my ears. So I actually really like the water in this map because it's pretty glowy, so it stands out. Also, we do get little water splashes when we shoot. That look pretty nice. But a nicely designed fountain. Good little hangout spot. And then we also get a waterfall. And this looks really cool, the glowy water. You can see how it stands out from everything else. And honestly, pretty good water. We get some waterfall ambience. It's always coming from the left here. Nice spot, looks good. What's weird is they didn't include any waterfall ambient sound effects with the fountains. There's like no sound at all, which this would not fly in modern times. I'll tell you that. My immersion is broken. This is Yavin 4 Arena, which takes place on Yavin 4 inside this arena. And we got rain, which is huge, and insane thunderstorm going on. I know what you're thinking. We got Camino. We already have a good rain map. No, this one's different because in this rain map, we're in a forest. And so we can hear the rain falling on the leaves, which is such a good sound effect, such a good ambience. We got some low-hanging clouds. Giant red moon, which is creepy. You can hear some frogs. You don't got frogs on Camino. Good rain splash effects. Kind of looks weird on the stairs. Some of them are floating, but that's okay. There's only so much they could do. I mean, they went crazy on the lightning. They were not holding back. I feel like in the Battlefield games, they would only flash lightning every 30 seconds or so. This one, they're just going crazy on it. Mossy Stone. Here's the, there's literally nothing going on with this building. And the Rebels, their spawn point is even less. They just have this weird structure.
Our reinforcements are being depleted.